welcome to my channel. It's Liz Eclectic, and today what we're going to be doing is deciphering eyeshadow palettes, what brushes to use with them, and then we're going to be doing this entire makeup look that you see on the eyes. So to get started today, what I want you guys to do is I want you guys to be able to decipher any eyeshadow palette that you pick up. So whether you're getting it at Walmart, the Chanel counter, Armani, Sephora, I want you to be able to look at every eyeshadow palette, be able to come up with the looks in your head from what I teach you today, and then be able to make wise purchasing choices based on you getting your ideal look out of a palette that you buy. Let's talk about palettes. So the one that I'm going to be using today specifically for this look is the Anastasia Beverly Hills and Maria Divanovic, eyeshadow palette. He came out with this last year. It flew off the shelves. It is so incredibly popular. But what I want to talk about with you guys is why eyeshadow palettes are usually created the way that they are. So you have your light shades, as you can see. You have your highlighting shades, highlighting shades, highlighting shades, okay? And then with the highlighting shades, you have what's called transition shades. Transition shades go in between your highlights and your smoky crease color, and it kind of brings all of it together. So like the transition shades in this palette are going to be like these, possibly Paris down here, a little bit of Kim, so like the medium tone shades. Then you have your pop color, which is what people usually put on the lids. I like to usually use the bright, like the pearl colors or something with a really extreme finish or a bright pop of color. That's your lid color, okay? And then you should be able to identify the deep shades, okay? Your shades that you want to go in and add in the crease to really give you that smoked out color, and then add underneath the lash line on the lower eyelash to give it depth and dimension. So any palette that you pick up, you should be able to pick up and decipher kind of the color schemes and quickly look at it and scroll through and be like, okay, I can see that this eye look, that eye look, that eye look, just by knowing those four simple things. Highlight, lid color, depth, smoking color, as I like to call it, your transition. Just like this palette would have, the four shades you can mix and match to do all the different eye looks. Just for an example, with another palette that I'm absolutely in love with right now is the Sweet Peach. It smells amazing. This is really good for girls who don't want like super intense makeup looks, but they want options to go really light. As you can see, tons of highlight shades in here, tons of those pop lid shades in here, tons of your deep eye smoke out colors in there, and then plenty of transitions, okay? Your transition shades also look really good. So any palette you pick up, pick out those four things in your head, like all four, think about them. And then you should be able to picture some really cool eye looks. And then when comparing two palettes, you can sit there in your head and think, okay, I know what looks I could get out of this one. I know what looks I could get out of that one. What am I going for right now? And then you'll be able to make a really smart decision that way and get the eye palette that's gonna be best for you and what you're looking for and serve your needs. So I know a lot of people are confused as to like, why do you need that many eyeshadow colors? Why are there that many shadows in a pan? Why the hell do you need that many dark and light shadows? Now you know, because you mix and match them to get different eye looks out of the palettes. Today what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna talk about the different brushes that are used for the different steps and shadows in the makeup routine, and then you're gonna get to see me do a live application. So without further ado, here is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Eyeshadow Palette, Master Palette by Maria Divanovic. So to go ahead and begin, what I've already done is I've got my base face of my makeup done, and then I've got loose powder baking in on the under eye area, so that when we're done applying our shadows, anything that kind of falls off onto the face can easily be dusted away with a simple fan brush, like so, okay? So that's why I look really washed out. I have nothing on my eyes. My eyebrows are not done. They're completely natural. The only thing I have on is the face products. So let's go ahead and get started. To begin, what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to prime the eyes. Now, something that I've been using forever is a MAC paint pot by Painterly, or in Rubenesque. Rubenesque is a gold pinkish hued color that looks really good on a lid on its own, or can be blended underneath shadows to kind of give them a little more metallic sheen. Another really good one that a lot of people like is the Paint Pot and Painterly. It's a really, really light color, and it just helps to kind of lock the color on there and help it be more vibrant. But today what I'm going to be doing is something that really doesn't have tint. It is the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion. I got this in one of my Sephora Beauty Rewards, so we're going to be giving this a shot today and seeing how it does. So let's just go ahead and start by priming both of the lids with the eyeshadow primer. Now, while you're doing this, you want to make sure it goes all the way from lash line to eyebrow. Everywhere that you're going to kind of be applying your eyeshadow needs to be covered by this primer potion, okay? So we have our primer potion in place. We're just going to go ahead and go back in and really rub it in and make sure that we don't have any clumpy pieces, anything for shadow to get hung up on. We want it to look good. Okay, now the palette that I'm going to be using today, again, those are my chihuahuas. They're chasing the cat. So he's going to be joining us soon. So I'm going to be using the Master Palette by Maria Di Devonic and Anastasia Beverly Hills. It's one of my favorites, as I said earlier. The first shade that I want to go in and do is the transition color, which we kind of talked about earlier. Here's the palette, and I think what we're going to use is the shade Kim for transition. Oh yeah, it's pretty. Super pigmented. You guys see that? Oh my golly. Just want to kind of bring it to the edge. We'll dab again. I mean, I am like barely touching these shadows and they are gliding on. So after we get our transition shade in there, what I want to do next is I want to go in with my dark shade. So what I like to use for my dark shades is a Sephora Pro Concealer Flat Brush in 76. I know it's a concealer brush, but I really like them because they're super, super flat, and I feel like I can get in that crease a little bit better. So I'm going to be taking the color Violetta, and I'm just going to touch both sides of this brush into the color, tap it off. So what we want to do is we want to take that deep shade and we want to fill it in to our crease, right in there. Okay, might have to go in a couple times, but we want to make that outer V really stand out. Now, I am doing this outer kind of third of the eye in the shade because when you go back in and you're blending your transition shade and your deep shade to get that smoke effect, you're gonna have to kind of dip into that extra piece of color to smoke it out a little bit more. So leave yourself that little well of color there. That's what I like to do. It really helps in depthening the color later on. But we're just gonna fill right along that crease. It's a beaut. Okay, so that's what that's essentially gonna look like there. Now, on the other side, we're just gonna do the same thing. Okay, so what we've got now is we've got our dark color inserted. The next thing we want to do, of course, is jump on in and do the highlight. Now, I like to do the highlight second because I feel like if you need to add more on top, it's easier when it's closer to the top layer. So I'm going to be taking the MAC brush 219. I think this is 219. I'm not sure. MAC is a great brand. They make amazing brushes that literally last for eternity, but the writing doesn't. So after a while, if you don't memorize your brushes, you kind of forget what you have and there's no reference. But other than that, they're amazing. I'm going to go ahead and go into highlight with this shade right here. It's called Marina. Okay. Oh my God, I just like gouged it. You guys see that? I just like gouged it. A lot of tapping, I'm so sorry. Okay, but what we want to do is we want to do that inner third of the eye with our highlight color, okay? So what I like to do is kind of pull it into the lid and then do the C-shaped area around this tear duct, top and bottom. Just really get in there, really highlight that out, okay? And then on the same side, I like to come over and do right underneath this brow bone, right like that. Okay, so I like to add that guy in there. We're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Okay, so we've got our inner corners highlighted. Oh my gosh, I just jabbed myself in the eye. But we've got our inner corners highlighted now. What I like to do after that step, this is gonna look and sound really crazy, is I like to go in with the Q-tip and I go into the tear duct and I press and then I roll. And it literally like pulls all of that product out of your eye. It's amazing. Like if you have any extra gunk in your eye, it'll pull it right on out of there. And then I go back in around the area and I kind of pat down any shadow that might have been misplaced, okay? So that's what that's gonna look like. Now, one of the other things that we have to do is we have to go in and we have to place our lid shade. For the lid brush, I'm gonna be using a flat synthetic brush, again by MAC Cosmetics, but we're gonna be going on in, and actually today I am really excited. I wanna use this shade that's called Muse. It looks so stunning. I'm just gonna tap the brush twice. Look at that color payoff. Amazing. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna go in, we're gonna apply Muse in the area between where we did the dark and the light, and we're literally gonna use that color to blend. So that's just kind of what we're gonna do. We're gonna get into it, do the same on the other side. So now we've got Muse in place, and you'll notice we've got a little patch of shadow here, and what we're gonna do, sweep it off. You see how easily that comes off when you have that translucent powder there? It just, you can literally wipe it off. So we've got our eye shades in place, if you can see, okay? Now the last thing we have to do is we have to go in and we have to blend it all. So what I've done is I have this Sonia Kashuk Tools number 08. It looks like a very stiff blender, but that's kind of what I prefer and like. So I'm gonna be using this card. I like to make a really crisp eye line. So I'm gonna put this on this part of my face, and then what I do is I hold the line there, and I go in and I blend. Remember how we were talking earlier about using this well of color? You wanna take that well of color from the edge and drag it up along the paper line, and then in and around and around and around. Just blend it in real good. Make everything seamless. And then I like to come up here and use my pinky and blend the transition shade and the highlight. And then usually I'll go back in and do another highlight. But you see how vicious that is? It's like super fierce. Again, we're just gonna do the same thing on the other side. I love it. Like, I'm obsessed with doing this. Blend everything kind of all together. And then I like to go back in with the highlighter brush without any extra product on it, because it probably already has product on it still. And you're just gonna wipe, ta-da. Touch up here, touch up there. Very, very, very last step. I like to take a MAC 231. It's a synthetic eyelining brush, and I will spray this guy to death with some Fix Plus. It's like a setting spray. And then I'm just gonna go back in with this shade. I'm gonna use Muse and NYC together, Muse and NYC together, so that I have the same shade that I need, but I also can bring a little bit more warmth to under the lash line. So this is gonna go under the lash line in that place. And then we're just gonna do the same to the other side. So we have the shade under our eyes. Now if you want to, what you can do to kind of make that more fluffy instead of crisp looking, is you can go back in with the shade that you used on your eyelid and touch into that Muse again right here. Can you guys see that? My cat's in the way, I can't see half of my monitor. He's so needy. And then you're just gonna kind of smoke out underneath the deeper line. You see how we got a little more spread now? So that's how that's gonna go there, okay? So that's the powder part of our eye look. We are in place. Now what I like to go in and do next is I like to touch the inside rims of the eyes, the waterline, with the iconic MAC Smolder eyeliner. I will just go ahead and apply that in the waterline. And I do like to go all the way across for intense makeup looks. For daytime looks, I usually just like to do this bottom piece of the V on the bottom and then do the entire top so that my lash line is like really prominent. But we're just gonna apply this in that outer kind of V area. This is gonna look crazy. Do not judge, okay guys? This is how I do my top eyeliner. And I know when I get older, it's gonna be clockable. But I literally grab it and pull it upward. And I know it's so bad, but I don't like putting the pencil near my eye, you guys. Freaks me out. Like, I'm not gonna sit there and go, ugh. Oh my God. That was even too close. Like, no thank you. So, yes, I look like a freaking weirdo when I do my eyeliner. But you know what? Makeup is creativity. We all have different ways of doing things. And it's all about the creative process, you guys. So, yes, I look weird when I put on my eyeliner, but it goes on. All right, and then I like to usually just go in the corner and flick. So that I have that V, the most outer part of the V, like defined. The next part I like to go in and do is the eyeliner. And the reason I go through and I completely do the eyes before I get into the eyebrows is I find if I'm working really close in this area, or like I have to wipe something, sometimes I'll like smear brow powder. So I try to get like the stuff that's cream and liner down first, because powder budges easier, I feel like, especially with the pomade that I use, and I'll show you guys what that is in a minute. So I'm just gonna take the L'Oreal Voluminous Superstar Liquid Eyeliner. It's in black. It's very similar to the MAC Penultimate eyeliner. The MAC Penultimate though, I find that when you use it, it gets really dry on the tip really fast and you have to like shake it or something. And then one time, like, since I store them like this in like a cup, I took the lid off and it was just like dripping product. Worst day of my life. So I'm gonna go in with this. This stays wet for a long time and it's very comparable to the Penultimate. You know, you can always go to your drugstore and just grab one of these. It works amazing. We're gonna go ahead and give us a cat eye on this outer line. I'm gonna try and keep my head in the frame for you guys, but I swear it's hard. So now that we have the eyeliner done, what we're gonna do is we're gonna get into these brows. For the eyebrows today, I'm gonna use what I always use. Some people swear by the eyebrow pencils. I have found a combination that I absolutely love. Benefit Browsings. I am in the shade 5, and what it is it's a compact that comes with a pomade and it comes with a powder. So the pomade helps keep your eyebrows in shape, and the powder kind of darkens them and gives them a little more volume. So what I like to do is I like to use like the synthetic MAC 263 brush, which is an angled brush. And I like to put it in the pomade first. Ooh, oh my God, I almost dropped it on the floor. Girl, if that would have fell on the floor and shattered, my eyebrows would have been bald like all week. I would have gone and got another one. Who am I kidding? So what you want to do is you want to start with the beginning of your brow and just kind of like draw in the sparse hairs with strokes like you would with a pencil. You can see with just a couple strokes, I'm already getting really good coverage in that area and it looks so freaking natural. So it just kind of blends in with your natural hairs because it is a pomade, but it gives shape and there's color to it. So you're getting definition with it as well, which I absolutely love. So you can tell, look at that difference. So it's gonna bring my natural brow color closer to this. So you just go in, you do your arch, figure out where you want that arch to be, and you just kind of use the pomade to guide your hairs in the right place. That's what's so genius about this, is you're literally using your own hairs and you're just kind of grooming them in the right area, and at the same time you're tinting them and kind of maximizing volume for yourself a little bit here. So that's pretty much the idea of the brow that I want. Now I know you're thinking like, girl, that eyebrow looks like it needs some Miracle Grow. And I understand that. That's why I go in with the brow powder next, the one that's included in that kit. And I use a little more volumizing. This one is actually a brow brush, but I have like mashed the end of it down just because I'm rough. And just kind of brush in the same areas where you just put the pomade down. And then what you can do is go right at the top of that pomade line. And what it's gonna do is give you more volume. And then I like to take the edge of my finger and be like, wah. He's a little thicker, he's not so anorexic anymore, but look at that difference, okay? eyebrow, natural. You see how it really just can take that eye look and be like, bring you there with it? That's the idea of grooming these brows. And you may have completely natural, beautiful brows, but I'm telling you, that density, that like, you can't see no light, that's what you want, is that craziness right there. My favorite phrase is, it's all fun and games until it's time to do the brows, because they are just a pain. They take so long. So the last step that we're gonna do is we're gonna curl the eyelashes and put on our mascara. Slight curl. I like to go in at the eyelid base and squeeze, squeeze, squeeze as I come out. Gives it a nice curl instead of a pinch. Today I'm gonna be using the Benefit Roller Lash combined with Maybelline Falsies, just to give it like a really dark look on the lashes. Now what I like to do is, I don't like to put any mascara on my lower lashes. I know half of you are shrieking at your computers right now, but I just feel like in photos, it looks like a spider. Like dark, 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 dark lashes underneath. But some people love it. Some people love that, you know, defined top and bottom lash look. And you know, they pull it off. When I look at myself with it, I'm like, let's just not do that next time. This is gonna bring us to light, girl. Okay, so after you get the mascara pretty well in place, you go in with the second mascara, like the one that I like to use is the Maybelline The Falsies Volume Express. And I like to just layer that right over top. So now we have the finished eye look. And that's how you do a look with an eyeshadow palette, deciphering all the colors and figuring out what brushes to use. If you're loving this video, hit the like button. Make sure you hit the subscribe button. Every time that I post something, you'll get notified. You'll be one of the first to be able to watch it, stay up to date on things. It's a really good way for me to interact with you guys. If there's any other looks that you guys want to see, or there's any products that you've seen that you really want me to try to figure out if they live up to the hype, put them down below in the link. I'll get to as many as I can, and I like being here to serve you guys, teach you guys some things, and share the love of makeup. So this is the finished look, guys. Thank you so much for joining me on today's adventure. Make sure you like and subscribe to my channel so that you can keep up to date with everything and get some inspirational ideas and join me in my quest to inspire creativity and make the world beautiful, one eyeshadow palette at a time. Love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Liz Eclectic, out.